Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishnah Shkalim, Parag Dalet, Chapter 4, Mishna Gimel, Mishnah 3. Okay, so far we had the Trumas Halishka, where they withdrew the Shkalim from the chamber where all the Shkalim were held. That withdrawal was done 3 times a year. And we learned that what was purchased from that were the communal sacrifices, plus other things that can, let's call it, fall under the category of communal sacrifices. Then we spoke about the things that come from the Shiyare Halishka, the things that come from the leftover afterwards, meaning after the 3 separate withdrawals have been made, and then there is coins that are left. What were those coins used for? And they were basically used for the city, the needs of the city of Yerushalayim, plus some of the other things that came along either with the Paraduma, the Tsar Mishtaleach. Okay, and now we're going to talk about, and what happens after all that's done and there's still money left. Okay, all the communal sacrifice, the 3 withdrawals have been made. Whatever had to be used for the leftover money for those, let's say, needs of the city, those were all done, and you still have money left over. What do you do with that money? So Mishnah Gimel, Moisar Shari Halishka, the remainder, they're called the surplus of the remainder of what was left of the coins in the chamber. What did they do with them? They would buy with those monies wines, oils, and flour. And the profits went to hektish. Meaning, the Beis HaMikdash, I think in general, I think as a fact, they had the supplies that you needed for your sacrifice. And it was a good thing to get it from there because they protected it from becoming tummy. So your wine, your oil that you need for the libations, for the oil, for the meal offerings, the flour for the meal offerings, you could get those supplies in the Beis HaMikdash. So according to this first opinion, what they used to do is that with the leftover money that we're talking about now, the surplus of the leftover money, they would actually invest it. They would invest it in wines, oils, and flour, and sell it for a profit for the Beis HaMikdash. What do you do with those profits? Don't know yet. But that, according to this opinion, that's what they would do. They'd have the wines, and they take the money, buy all these supplies that people need. As they say here in the notes, the temple maintained these supplies at the high level of tahara required for offerings. Okay, and then and the profits went to the Beis HaMikdash. Divrei Rabbi Yishmael, the words of Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Kiva says, a mistakrim shel hektish, you cannot make a profit. You cannot do business with the property of hektish. Nor can you do business with that which belongs to the poor. So, according to Rabbi Akiva, you've got these extra funds. You cannot use it to invest. You cannot use it to make more money for the Beis HaMikdash. Why is that? The explanation given is because if you do that, it looks like the Beis HaMikdash needs money, and that's not proper respect to the Beis HaMikdash. And therefore, according to Rabbi Akiva, the surplus of the leftover money, you can't use it to do business. What'd you do with it? So on the bottom, they bring down from the commentary of the Meiri that according to Rabbi Akiva, you know what you do with that extra money? You left it for next year. You left it for next year because some years they were maybe short of the funds that they needed for the roads and for the reservoirs and those things that the city needed. Sometimes they were short. Okay, so for those things, you had previous year's money that you held on to cover that. That's what Rabbi Akiva would say you do with the money. Because you cannot do business with the property of hektish. Even the Beis HaMikdash can't do business with that. It's not other people doing it. It's the Beis HaMikdash itself using it for that. But Rabbi Akiva says it's not appropriate. Nor mishal aniyim. Nor do you do the same thing with money for the poor. You have a fund, and there's extra money, right? The poor of the city have been taken care of. There's money sitting around, right? That's a sin, right? For money to sit around, that's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to do that, right? Chas v'shalom. So therefore, what do you do with it? Invest it. And now you'll have more money for the poor, right? You'll have more money for the poor. So Rabbi Akiva says, you don't do that. Why? Because you need the money at hand in case something comes up. Right now you don't have anybody who needs, but if you invest it and then somebody else shows up who needs it, that money won't be available. and there because it's committed. And therefore, according to Rabbi Akiva says, no, you can't do that with the money of the poor. It's gotta, if you have extra, you leave it around to make sure in case somebody needs it, it'll be at hand and ready. So therefore, Rabbi Akiva said, you can't do this. Rabbi Shmuel said, you would go ahead, and if there's extra money left over, you would invest it and use the extra monies for hektish, for what? We'll see. We'll see in the future Mishnah. But that's the machlokes here between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shmuel. Can you take the extras and use it for profit? Again, for the base of Mikdash or not? And the Bartanura says, V'halacha karabi Akiva. Halacha is like Rabbi Akiva, which means you cannot use these extra monies to buy, even for the base of Mikdash, to buy the wine and the oil and to use it to sell it, to use it to as business, sell as a profit. So again, what do you do with that money? We're going to have to, Rabbi Akiva says, you hold on to it for in case you need to get for future needs of the city. Even if for this year is taken care of, use it for next year.
Yeah.
That would be that's what Rabbi Akiva says. The Bartanura says that is the halacha. I was just wondering also, so according to Rabbi Yishmael, they said the extra money was used to buy the oil and the wine, which they said is that's very good to get it from the Beis Hamikdash because it was they kept it at the high level of purity it needs to be. So according to Rabbi Akiva, who we didn't use extra monies for that. So did they still have these supplies ready for people? Did they not have the supplies ready for people? I don't know. I tend to think of remembering Mishnayos or some other sources that do talk about buying it from the Beis Hamikdash. The Beis Hamikdash does have those supplies ready. The point of Rabbi Shmuel is to go ahead and where does the money for that come from? I don't know. Maybe somebody has to donate. Donate it. I don't know. According to Rabbi Shmuel, these extra monies were used for that. Rabbi Akiva says he can't use it for this extra money. So, where did they get it from? I don't know. My impression, my recollection is that no matter who you hold, there were these supplies there. I may be wrong, but that's what I think. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, someone